if you're thinking and then you witness that you're thinking, then who are you?
Right. Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah, and so that means that thinking's a fake, right? I mean, it's which one's real?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah. Are you the witness or are you the thinker? Or is the thinking...
But how did you get to the point of feeling or observing it as fake? When did it happen?
Oh, I don't know.
That's
interesting, yeah.
But when I said it, more recent.
Yeah, more recently. It's something that maybe in the last year or so. But I feel like thinking is a more of a, I don't want to say it's a trick or a trap. It's almost, what do you think?
I don't want to bring my...
Keep going. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
though.
Well,
I know.
Yeah, because
you're trying to figure out.
I'm also curious about... Yeah, let's start from that one. You said within a year or so, was there any triggering knowledge or watching something, or it just came up?
I think it came up where the thinking was not attached to the heart.
So when that happened the first time, what was how do you describe that? Any memory of that? Where you are?
I can't.
You can?
No.
And that was just a brief moment, and then you thought, or what did you...
Yeah.
And you don't remember where?
No.
And how often did it happen since?
Then it's been a practice on, is it through the heart or is it through the head?
Yeah, that's kind of...
And who's in charge?
Okay, right. We talked about those.
Yeah, and there's a feeling.
Yeah.
Now, in the past year,
right.
I've let the feelings dictate the actions instead of the head dictating the list.
But the feeling, not in the sense of upset feeling or anything, but the feeling of what?
Like a heart expansion or a gut feeling, or if it feels good, my actions will follow that instead of my actions being facilitated from a reason or intellect.
Right. And this is a very important discussion, actually.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why, not just for us, but if we happen to have this one, someone's listening, because the heart and brain, I keep talking about there are two states, and we need to find a connection. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, in many cases, thinking is like a fake.
Yes.
In the videos and stuff like that.
Okay, continue.
I think recently I talked about people talk about the simulation. Brain can do simulate. If X, Y, Z, and you can go, when this happens, I can do this.
Yeah.
So it's a simulation. People talk about simulation quite often especially in the high-tech guys, in the AI-related guys. I don't know if you know Lex Friedman from MIT, previously professor, and a bunch of perhaps OpenAI guy would know when we talk about simulation. They all think about, is this whole world a simulation?
Yes.
Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Explain to me when and how you felt, or what was the context of that simulation in relation to this fakeness or not.
Oh, I don't have an opinion on that.
Okay. So the simulation...
Good question, though.
Yeah, simulation to me, because engineers tend to think, because I did do the computer simulation of the nuclear accident and all that. And that's the brain's activity, but it's fake in a way because they're simulating. It's not the reality of it.
Yeah, it's not the...
Yeah. But they think it's the simulation is what it is, instead of thinking that there's a reality beyond that.
Okay.
That seemed to be the way.
Got it, yeah.
And I don't like it, except I don't have a way of telling them.
Ah.
But I said something in the YouTube and here and there about the context of what you mean by simulation and this fakeness issue, because people won't believe it's fake because it's all in their mind.
Yeah.
And they think that's everything.
Yes.
But that's what I've been talking all the time, except maybe nobody's listening and it doesn't matter because,
But the simulation...
Yeah.
So your brain doesn't recognize if it's a simulation or it's actually
because
happening.
You're in it, right.
Yeah, because you're in it.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so...
So what is actually real then?
Okay.
Or does it matter?
But let's finish this portion
Okay,
of
keep going.
your discussion of your thinking and how. I mean, I can say it this way, but that become my words. So I'm more curious about.
I know you are.
Your
Yeah, I know you are.
But if you awaken,
Yeah.
like a dream state and awakened state,
Yeah.
you know after you awaken what was a dream.
Yes.
Thinking can be like that.
Oh,
It's
that's
it,
brilliant.
it's not brilliant. It's just precisely like that.
But that's a really clean way to talk about it, though.
Yeah, I'm glad that we can talk about it because
That makes sense. It's obvious.
right, it's obvious.
It's obvious, but not inherent.
Yeah, but that's awakening is what it is. We just don't know it. Well, we may know it, but we may not know it, and we are in between. And when we know it, you already lost what awakening is because you know it.
Because yeah, exactly. Okay. So this is good. We know the difference between dream and awake, and that's the same with thinking.
Right.
And so then
What?
yeah, but the knowing that you're awakened is, again, like you just said, you're
So
knowing it.
that is really is the, in a way, crucial point. And to have the awareness is sort of a functioning behind or more.
So would you say that's what I was talking about, the witnessing state of the thinker?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was talking the other day about Eckhart Tolle talking about. I couldn't stand myself.
Yeah.
The same thing. There's an observer and observed.
Yeah.
But observer and observed are existing inside of you.
Yeah.
And there's a conflict or there's a paradox of those two.
Yes.
And you may not notice the paradox, then you're caught up in it. And you
It's
may
a dream
go.
state.
Yeah. But dream is real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the other thing, this might not have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
However, the one thing that from going from head to heart,
Right.
I'll have a thought, and whether it's sadness or whatever,
Mhm.
I'll have a thought, and then I'll find it in my body,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll let the thought go. Okay?
It just dissolves or
It dissolves,
yeah,
but
right.
I still have it in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have the tightness in my chest or whatever. Okay? And then I let the muscle or the body release it.
Yeah, okay.
And then the thought can dissipate or not come up again.
Okay, so kind of like what we talked about
Letting
the
go.
other day.
Exactly.
Right? And what you said and what I
So
felt
that's
interesting was that there are kind of two steps kind of process
Yes.
of killing or throwing away or letting go and then
Letting go of the thought.
still massaging the body
Yeah.
inside of it.
Yeah.
That's the yesterday's discussion
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
similar.
Yeah.
Similar. Instead of going to another space and then letting that one relax, I'm literally just being like, oh, here's a thought. That doesn't feel good. Where doesn't it feel good in my body? Release it. Thought.
Right, okay.
Collapse.
Yeah. So I can say it this way too. When this happens, this is already not waiting for the next step, but ready to shine the light.
Yeah.
So it may go 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
or 1, 2,
Yeah.
or some such
Yeah.
thing. Roughly
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. With
What it means, in my term, the core is
Yes.
if it's strong enough that you know there's another me. It's a funny saying.
Yeah.
Then if you live out of that as a core and connected, that's the issue of whether you are awakened or not. If it's connecting, then you are already relating to the other
Relating to
entity.
that other.
There.
Okay, so then, what is the next step into we're all one? Is that like a whole nother?
Okay, well, we can talk about it. So when you talk about whole one, if I go back, the other day's discussion
Yeah.
was the whole one. That
Yeah.
I had this banga or the
Yeah.
kensho. So that is in the zone, so to speak.
Yes.
And there's no mind to overtake because this is so strong.
Yeah.
So it's not actually one is overtaking, maybe one way to explain it.
Okay.
But I can explain that oneness can be seen as the paradox being there, right? Because here and here is different. But knowing the difference, that's the thing. It's not knowing, it's just aware of the difference is acceptance, right?
Yes.
And that's the end of the story, actually.
Acceptance.
Right. And technically, when that's happening, the acceptance is there. This doesn't stay forever, and it's dissolved, I guess. That's the way I might say it. It's not instant like that, because like energy level is there in the brain, some activity. And there's a baseline activity here too.
Yeah.
And for this to take over, I guess that's the way I look at it. So the other wholeness is, this is already pretty much gone. So this is so powerful and everywhere kind of a sense.
But you're talking about the oneness of one being. I'm talking about the oneness of
Two.
all.
Yeah. So what is...
But once you receive the oneness
Yeah.
apart from the thinking mind,
Right.
and you're awake
Yeah. Yeah.
and
then,
whole,
yeah.
then there's the oneness of all of us.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
So there's no separation.
So that's a non-duality issue.
Non-duality, yeah.
And
The only reason we're in duality is to realize that we're separate so we can come together. Isn't
we
it?
have the mind to play the duality of good and bad. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason.
But then...
because when you're little,
And to grow.
we didn't have that one. So we are already peaceful. Then we learn to be dividing things, good and bad, and start to develop the habitual pattern of...
and so we're coming back around.
For the sake of using the brain, but to use the brain, we have so many programs that we clogged into this, words of the logic. So that's clarity get lost of the connection to the root get lost and overtaken by the brain. Therefore, this is forgotten. The heart is forgotten. And that remain as the traumatic experience or the programming that is coming up and jumping up and down every now and then. And even when you have this banga or the satori, that remains. So like I mentioned about this, my friend maybe already passed away and feels sad. Something happens and then you process it. Yeah. So that's the nature of the human being, and I don't think you can totally off from the hook. Yeah. Because of the rootedness is in the brain and all that is deep and not easy to process it. Most people. Yeah. Even if you have this, bridge to the core or the heart, this, like I said, when my case of this, all the experience
the energy.
Energy is going, I was free, liberated, but I knew it's going to come back. I just knew because I'm happy or liberated, but it cannot be true. Maybe that's my brain is functioning already.
Yeah, it was. Your brain was
I got tripped.
No,
Not like that. But I want to have the insurance that I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So that was the effort. Because I knew it can come. Because if you think back about the kids to grow up and how it happened, if you go back to the kid, free liberated sense, it can come back again.
Yeah.
And I knew it intuitively, well, not thinking, but I don't know where I
Yeah.
draw a line, but something like that.
That is interesting.
Tell me what is interesting in your world.
I think it's just interesting. One, I think about the simulation that you're talking about,
Yeah.
the dream and the wake
Yeah.
state. The idea that the mind, the witness in the mind, that can be the perception of being asleep or awake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then also we're brought here for duality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think to discover again who we are
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and become connected again
Right.
to something more.
Yeah, so in my view, the bottom line of this is conceptually we can talk about it, but experientially being able to live like that.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
the name of the game.
Yeah.
That is true. It's nothing else.
That's it.
You can write a book, anything,
Whatever.
but it doesn't mean anything
No.
because
Experientially.
people read it, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Even if you read it, you remember it, but are you doing it?
Yeah, it has to be experiential. So what do you suggest?
About what?
How to live it?
That goes back to nothingness idea.
I
of the
know.
Zen.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because we came from nothing, we go
Yes.
to nothing, and the nothing
I
is
agree.
at the base. That is what it is.
Yeah.
Because all the creation of the brain is dividing me A to
Yeah.
B, good
Yeah,
and
that's
bad,
true.
and I get lost. I'm sad. What do I do?
Yeah.
So this is what I did. Like today, related to this guy. His name is Peter, for the sake of discussion. That lives
Yeah.
in the other town.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not passed away. That thought reminded me like Daisetsu Suzuki, and the point of this discussion, the thought that happened is that I at one point, this is years ago, I wondered if the Buddha shed tears after his enlightenment. I couldn't find the answer anywhere, but that was my question because Daisetsu's case is, I remember he was talking with Okamura-san about, what was the incident? Oh yeah, his good friend died at the earlier age. Nishida is famous philosopher, and he was crying, and I thought that's the genuine human being of sadness, and my resolution is nothing wrong about it, just being in the state, because when it comes, it just comes.
Yeah.
And you not control it. You let go.
Yeah.
So my question of whether Buddha shed tears, I don't have the answer because I couldn't find it anywhere. But I won't be surprised that he did, but I couldn't find it. Only the quote that I remember was that when he was traveling backward to the northern India before he passed away, he went through this town called Vaishali. I was there actually, when I was visiting, and he said Vaishali is beautiful. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Why did he say that? Anyway, beautiful, ugly, but beautiful. Yeah. So those dualistic thinking happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe is the case for Mahayana against, shouldn't compare, but the Hinayana is the Theravada is Buddhism, is an early version of it, and 500 years later, this Mahayana is using the brain back in the world, is their view of, if I may characterize Mahayana, versus Theravada, to me, look like a piece in a cave, not going back to the town.
Yeah.
So the Zen monk says also, when they go to to become a Zen monk, they leave the society.
Yeah.
But they still connect to the society.
Yeah.
But in the traditional, all the way back to the Buddha's time, I think I don't know, nobody can say this is right or wrong, I would imagine, but this whole nirvanic experience of being is so profound, so that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
But my view has been, it's too tiring to keep on working on that one,
Yeah.
even if you have this
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So more realistic way of also for 99%, 99 point whatever
Nine,
percentage
yeah.
people
Yeah.
would be wise to have some balance of connecting
Yes.
to the heart and
Yes.
in the manner or something. So
Yes.
so it goes beyond the